Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this week's Facebook AMS live call. Today is July 18th, and we have a great call for you today. I'm going to start here in just a minute with our weekly issue paid numbers. We have some agent testimonials, a great classroom session from Ruggiero on the annuity buyer's mindset, and then also a great wrap up from Dominique Rogers with FFL Golden State. So that will conclude our call. For now, I have weekly issue paid numbers for IULs. This is week 28. We have Albert L with 1,314, Alvester C with 625, Andrea J with 384, Ruggiero G with 216, Dante C with 3,795, David H with 4,565, Faith G with 601, Georgina S with 1,907, Kenneth C with 674, Marianne M with 3,452, Mary D with 11,823, and Tina B with 2,372, bringing our weekly total to 31,728. Great job, everyone there. For weekly paid issue annuities, this is July 4th through July 10th. I do want to say that even with the holiday week, this was our record week for annuities. Our total was just over 3.6 million. So great job. Here goes this leaderboard. We have Jane C with 575,298, Brittany S with 460,577, Darush K with 400,000, David A with 327,328, David P and Daniel B with a split on 228,722, Skylar S with $205,047, David A with 200,000, Steve G with 154,544, Mark K with 142,687, Corey B with 130,000. Steve G with 128,999, Alan C with 117,688, Toria M with 81,101, Jeannie O and Don S with a split on 67,543, Michael B with 66,913, Isidoro G with 60,000, David P and Daniel B with 49,960, Ronald M with 40,000, Jack Y with 37,302, Paige L with 30,568, David B and Daniel B again with 29,843, Len D with 28,663, Timothy K with 26,365, Carlton M with 18,000, David P and Daniel B again with 12,570, and Jason L with 7,000. Again, like I said, that brings our total to just over 3.6 million. We hit a new record this week for issue paid annuities. Great job, everyone. Looking forward to the second half of the year. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.
Hey guys, Steven Giordano, Family First Life Tri-State. I'm honored to be on here today on the AMS Live. Just wanted to share a quick story about my first two annuities that I just issued this week. So I had gotten a mortgage lead back a few months ago out in Okeechobee, Florida. Spoke to the wife. She basically told me, we have mortgage protection, we just refinanced. I dug a little bit, kind of asking what she was paying and basically what did the plan do for her, and she told me about $40 a month, and I softly debunked it with being an accidental through the lender, because she had told me it was through the lender, and went on and booked the appointment, and then we had some good rapport. So she had asked me a little bit about what I did, so I spoke to her about the retirement planning and protection that we do. So went out, sat with her and the husband. Husband was 57 years old. He was in pretty good health. She had a couple of health issues. I was able to, in the financial inventory, number one, find about $283,000 in old 401k money. And then in addition, asked her to get out her policy for the mortgage protection, found that it was in fact accidental. She was able to read that off to me and really kind of understood it. And then I was able to get the husband on an HMS. She still wasn't ready to kind of sign on a whole life, but I was able to get the statements, let them know in the process that I would be getting some illustrations, booked an appointment for the following week, went back out. Great job by Sean and Bridget helping me out and getting me those illustrations. So, I went back out and reviewed them with the client and, basically loved the concept of not losing any more money, getting a bonus, not having fees, We were able to structure them a 10-year on the 57-year-old husband, a 15-year performance elite on the wife, bringing them both to roughly around 67 years of age. The funny thing was, they then said to me, hey, I don't think we need this mortgage protection anymore. And I was then able to turn that around, talking about the suitability process and how we needed that asset to be in there because that was going to help them pass suitability once I explained what that did. In addition, I was able to get the wife a Eagle Premier plan, which she really needed because she had no life insurance, and spoke to me about her parents not having a plan in place, and now they're not in a great spot in life. So next step of the process, told them I was going to come out and I was going to call their carrier with them, get the checks issued to them for the benefit of, went back out, picked up the checks, and the funny part about that was, in all this rapport and good rapport we had, they were still trepidatious about handing over $283,000 in a check to me. So I was able to then, show my license again, show some pictures of me and clients, get a little bit more personal with them, then take a picture with them. So I encourage anybody to do that because I think it goes a very long way. Then, those policies that are issued today, I spoke to both clients, let them know, what their policy numbers were, the next step of the process with delivery of the policies. And, the wife then tells me that she has a colleague who's losing money in the market, told her about what I did and what I had done for them. And she was going to basically, refer me to him to see if we can do the same thing and protect his retirement. So, right off the bat, again, a huge thank you to Bridget and the team and Sean. You guys do an awesome job on this training. This training for everybody, especially new agents, should be appointment television. And number two, I want to be the first one to really plug the conference. I would not have been able to do this if I would not have attended the conference in Las Vegas. It was truly money, literally. And now I'm able to take that commission and reinfuse it in my business and try and grow my business. So guys, the conference, the trainings, get on them early and often. Sean and the team, thank you for everything. My name's Steve Giordano. Again, reach out to me on Facebook. I love talking and interacting to everybody because there's a lot of stuff that I'm still trying to learn, and there's some things that I have learned thus far that I really love passing on to everybody else. So make it a great week. Take care.
Good morning, everyone. Sean Ruggiero. This is the Family First Life Advanced Market Sales Live. Thanks for joining us. Today we're going to talk about the mindset of an annuity buyer. Now, what do I mean by mindset of an annuity buyer? Most commonly, it's what they're thinking when they say no, right? Now, is it a straight up no? And what have you presented up to this point? So let's backtrack a little bit and let's assume you're doing the right things leading up to this portion of the annuity sale. In most situations, we have taken a financial inventory. We have an understanding of how much money they make, what the age discrepancy is in a couple or an individual, and how much money they have in savings and when they would like to retire. Okay, so when we have those pieces, which we normally gather through the financial inventory that Family First Life has, if you need a copy of the Family First Life financial inventory that we use in the in-home, you can go to fflams.com and download it from the resources tab. But once you have this information and you've ascertained that they have some savings, okay, so this person is not in the accumulation phase of their life cycle, they are approaching the glide path or the decumulation phase in their retirement life cycle or their financial life cycle. So what does that mean? That means that you're giving them advice. You've found that they have some money. Let's say they have a couple $100,000, maybe even $500,000 or $1 million in an IRA. Okay, that IRA was exposed to the market when they accumulated. And this is an important understanding. So here's point number one in understanding the mindset of an annuity buyer. I am Sean. I am working in a defined contribution plan, a 401k, a 403b, a 457, whatever that plan might be. I'm paying into that. Where do those investments go? They go into the stock market, some combination of stocks and bonds. And that's a good thing. I've always professed this. It's a good thing for those to be exposed to the stock market because it's a great way to accumulate wealth. See, as the market rises up, you can gain wealth. You're buying shares on a monthly or per paycheck basis. When the market goes down and declines, which since 1970, the S&P has dropped 27% of the time. So it goes up more than it goes down. That's a great thing. But when it goes down and you're accumulating, that's fantastic. That means you get to buy more shares. And you make these investments over time, you accumulate wealth, okay? We're talking to the people that have accumulated wealth. But what is their mindset? They've invested their entire 30 or 40 years of their professional career in what? In the market. So first rule is their mindset is in the market. The market is their safe place, but they haven't thought through it. It's not like they've actually analyzed why the market is their safe place. It's just what they know. And as human beings, we stay comfortable in what we know. So you presented to this person an alternative. Rather than exposing your funds in the market in retirement, why don't we look at this fixed index annuity? And this fixed index annuity can do X, Y, Z. Whatever you presented to this client. Let's say it was accumulation with an income rider or accumulation with systematic withdrawals or just safe accumulation with RMDs coming out at age 70. You've made a presentation and what have they said? We're happy with where we're at. Well, why are they saying that? Well, the first point, as I said, they're comfortable staying in the market, and people always lean towards being comfortable. Change is uncomfortable. But there are 4 basic things that you need to ask them to help get inside their mind of why they need to be uncomfortable and move their money to something that has more safety, eliminates fees, eliminates emotion, and can maximize their safe returns, because that's really what we're talking about. So here's the 4 questions for thought and reflection with an annuity buyer. Question number 1, how long did you save? Okay? So if I'm speaking to Mr. and Mrs. Smith, doesn't really matter their age, doesn't really matter the amount. I've gone through the financial inventory, I've presented to them my fixed index annuity as a viable solution for their retirement as they head into retirement. I say it doesn't matter their age, meaning their finite age doesn't matter. But let's call them somewhere in their 60s. So they've accumulated a few $100,000, whatever that wealth is to them. And I'm saying to them, how long did you save? So they said, you know what, Sean, we're going to keep our money where it's at, right? Because they're thinking that's where it's always been. I want to stay where I'm comfortable. I'm going to challenge them. I'm going to start by saying, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, let me ask you a question. How long did it take you to save that money? This $300,000 that's in your IRA, that's a reflection of how many years of work and how many years of savings. And I really want them to think about, well, I had a job here and worked in Bremerton, and then I had a job when I moved over to the city, and then I moved north and worked up in Shoreline. So, you know, that was about 36 years of work. 36 years. 3.5 decades to save this $300,000. Okay? Let me ask you another question. When was the last time you reviewed or even created a financial plan? And see, this is where I'm going to talk about number 1. See, while you accumulated for 3.5 years, right? If I was married to the same person, or excuse me, 3.5 decades. If I was married to the same person for 3.5 decades, if I drove the same car for 3.5 decades, if I lived in the house for 3.5 decades, don't you think I'm pretty used to it? Doesn't change sound kind of scary? Am I going to know where the buttons are in the car? Or, you know, where I'm going to put everything in my new house? I don't. But just because I'm not comfortable with it, does that mean that it's not a good idea to change? See, my question to you, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, is you worked 3.5 decades for this money. You're used to the stock market. It's what you're comfortable with. But when was the last time you sat down and reviewed this plan or even created a plan at all? Considering that your entire life up to this point was accumulation, not retirement, not decumulation. When was it? A lot of people are not going to be able to answer that question. And even if they say, well, we talked to them. What do you mean talked to them? Had a phone call? See, financial advisors, those that work with assets under management, which is a fine profession. There's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of good that comes out of that. They're only paid as a percentage of assets under management. And it's probably a combination of commissions and assets management, but their value of their book is assets under management. They really can't afford to be giving a lot of time to people who have investable funds to the tune of $100,000, $200,000, $300,000. In fact, a lot of them will require that you have at least $500,000. Some of them even $1 million. And that's fine because they're working with a different clientele for the most part. But think about the people who have $50,000. You ask them this question, how long did it take you to save? And then you ask them, when's the last time you reviewed or even created a plan? They're lying to you if they said they just recently did it, because they didn't. Because their plan is just keep it where it's been all along. But keeping it where it is all along doesn't make sense when you're changing the usage of that money. So, how much more are you hoping to gain? It took you 3.5 decades to save this money up. You have it exposed to risk. Why? Because you want to make more gains. So I'm asking you specifically, if you have a plan, then your plan entails some risk, some reward. What are you hoping to gain? If you have $300,000, what's your goal to grow that to? 303? 310? 320? And if that's the case, how much can you afford to lose? And that's where we really want to strike on. They're not going to have a number. They're never going to answer you and say, Sean, once we hit $315,000, we're pulling back the reins and we have a decumulation plan that's going to be highly invested in bonds and annuities. They're never going to say that. In fact, when you ask them, how much are you hoping to gain? What's your plan? They're not going to have an answer. But when you ask them how much they're going to afford to lose, they're going to look at you like a deer in headlights and say, the reality is this, you probably can't afford to lose very much, if any at all. And let me ask you this, if you lost $5,000, how long did it take you to save that much money? See, what I see here, and I see this all the time, is you just haven't come up with a plan. You've spent the last 3.5 decades with something you're familiar with. And give them that same analogy, like being in a home for 3.5 decades, being in a relationship for 3.5 decades. If that person passes away, it's very hard for you to find another relationship. And there's certain elements that you're not going to recapture. You're used to putting money in. The stock market is great for that. But now that you've got money, you really need to ask yourself, what is my plan? Am I holding out for a certain number? Like I got to get to 330 or else my plan doesn't work? And how long did it take you? How much time, blood, sweat, tears does that $300,000 represent? And if you lost 10% of it, if you lost 30 grand, what does that really mean to you? Can you really make that back? So good news. My FIA, my fixed index annuity, it's going to help you maximize your retirement. See, the reality is this, you don't actually have a plan, if I might say so. If I may be so bold, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, you're saying no because you're comfortable saying no. I want you to be uncomfortable for a second and understand that what you're currently doing is a great accumulation plan, but it's not maximizing your retirement. So I'm going to talk to you about this in a way that you can understand. We're going to maximize your retirement. We're going to do it through 4 basic elements here. We're going to eliminate fees. We're going to eliminate risk, meaning you'll never suffer downside market risk. So if the next bear market, right, the bear tears it down, if the next bear market is next quarter, next year, or 5 years from now, because eventually that market's going to come back down, you won't have to participate in it at all. We're also going to eliminate emotion. See, when you're managing stocks and bonds, especially without any assistance, you have to decide with emotion, do I want to stay in this market now that it's dropping? Or do I want to stay in this market now that it's rising? See, when we use a fixed index annuity, when we gain a gain, when we make a gain, when the market goes up at my anniversary date, it's locked in. We don't even have to think about it. We don't have to decide what we want to sell, what stocks we want to sell, what the capital gains implications will be. It just adds that money to our tax-deferred bundle, and we continue to grow on top of that. The money can never be reduced from there. The share value can never go down. That's a pretty special thing, and that eliminates the emotion. And also, it maximizes safe returns. Notice I'm saying safe returns. I'm not saying we're beating the market. I'm not saying the market is a bad thing. And you hear me say this over and over and over again, right? As life insurance agents, we don't sell in the market. If you're advising people on this, you're not talking about the market. You're talking about an FIA. So as far as safe returns go, if we look at the statistics, we've got things like money market accounts, government bonds, guaranteed bonds, right? A fixed index annuity will outperform them. Okay? CDs, a fixed annuity will outperform them. So this is a safe investment, but we're maximizing that safe investment. So remember, we're here to maximize your retirement, not accumulate your retirement. They're two different things. And you have yet to, in your 65 years of life, focused on how we maximize it. That's what I'm here for. That's what my company specializes in. And that's what this product does. It's going to do it by eliminating fees, eliminating downside market risk, eliminating emotion, and maximizing those safe returns. Hope that helps, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. We got more to come.
Hey everyone, Skylar Smith here. I just wanted to mention how beneficial this training is through AMS Live that we receive. Sean and Bridget do such a wonderful job. It is helpful that day that you get the training, or the next day, or the next week that you get the training. So what a benefit it is to have training like this. Just to give you an example, I have a particular scenario, or actually two scenarios, that I wanted to run past you guys today. The first one is about a few weeks ago, we had a training about the Agility 10 product itself. And with that product, it grows on the income side at about 175%, and you can turn on the income in about 10 years. I have a friend of mine, so a warm market lead, that I've dropped the hint a couple of times that I do retirement income planning, and finally he took the hook and called me up one day and asked me if I could come over and discuss one of his retirement accounts with him. And this particular gentleman is 52 years old. He had about $205,000 in a retirement account that was just sitting there from an old job that he had actually converted into a money market account because he didn't want to have it involved in the market at all, because he sees the volatility and he was scared that there might be a downside swing to the market. So he's just got it sitting there doing nothing. So I explained to him the benefits of going into a product like the Agility 10 in his particular scenario. He had expressed to me that he didn't want to retire for about 10 years, and in 10 years he was looking to have a guaranteed lifetime income at that point. So this particular product fit that bill exactly. So a perfect fit for him in this scenario. And on top of that, if he was to die in the meantime, the product has a death benefit that would roll over to his family. So what a great scenario that was for him. But that's not the one that I'm really excited about. The one that I'm excited about is the one that I just did today, and that was a $500,000 annuity. Now this was a Medicare lead. You guys know how I like Medicare. And so I was able to go in on a Medicare lead, build the trust. I took care of their Medicare. And then we got into some retirement income planning through the financial inventory sheet. As we discovered, they had about $1.5 million. And they were concerned about long-term care issues. Well, guess what? We just had a training on long-term care and how an annuity could fit the bill for long-term care if need be. So wonderful training. Again, this training through AMS Live is phenomenal. Jay Rosenkrantz did a wonderful job, and Sean Ruggiero did a fantastic job on that training, and it was a perfect match for my clients. So I had a client that's 66 years old. They were concerned about long-term care scenarios in the future, and as we heard from Jay yesterday, typical person goes into long-term care at about 80 years old, and so we were able to put him into an Agility 10, get that growth for that 10 years, turn on that income after that, and if they needed to go into a long-term care situation, the income would double. So what a perfect fit and a perfect scenario. So I'm excited about those two annuities, but I'm mostly excited about the wonderful training that we get through AMS Live. We can put it into use right when we hear it, right when we see it, and be able to help our clients out and help ourselves out as well. Hopefully this helps, guys. Please continue to post your victories, because we love sharing them with you. Post your victories on Facebook, and we like to hear about your successes. Guys, have a great day. Continue to get out there and hustle, and do your best. Thank you.
Hey guys, Dominique Rogers here. Thank you for having me on the Advanced Market Sales Call video. However you're watching, this could be a podcast call. I know there's very many ways we're getting our information, and I'm really pumped up about the different platforms, different sectors that we have. We got the Mets Up, we got Advanced Market Sales, we got Life. I mean, it's just, if you're an independent agent, why wouldn't you work with Family First Life, especially in the simplified issued space? I know there's a multitude of different things you can do. But what I want to focus on here today in this wrap up is really the power of annuities, and not like the power of for the client. And obviously, I know you guys know all that, but really, truly, what it can do for your business. And I can just speak from experience, being out in the field early on, 2012, 13, and really only focusing on final expense mortgage protection. And you can still see to this day when you look at the structure of the business and whatnot, yeah, that's going to be a lot of it. But as you grow, and as you start seeing how effective annuities can be for your business, it's almost, it's a game changer. So I just want to tell you a quick story about, when I was, I think it was my second year in, my whole first year, never wrote an annuity. Second year, didn't write an annuity till like the last, promise you, I think it was December. It was really late in the year, and what it did for me, because when I was going through my first year, my placement wasn't the best, and so, which means chargebacks, and you're learning your business. You're learning his business. And whenever I wrote this annuity, it was on a door knock for like $120,000, It was on a door knock. The guy wouldn't pick up the phone. He got him a life insurance policy and asked the golden question, do you have anything else that would act as life insurance? And he goes, yeah, I got an old 401k. And I said, hey, can you afford to lose any money in there? And he goes, absolutely not. I said, have you? He goes, yeah, I just lost, I think it was like $4,000 over the last quarter. And I was like, well, I think I can help you out with that, and just kind of proceeded with it. But I promise you, it was just those that first question, But the spot that I was in at that point in time, was a spot that I was just looking left and right and going, I don't even know if this is going to work for me anymore. You ever thought about like, I don't know if this insurance thing is for me? Yeah, I thought about it like every day in my whole first year. And that second year, still thinking about it. Honestly, I'm still thinking about it. There's levels to this thing all the time, right? But what it did for me in my perspective of this business, yes, we can go out there and write, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 of life insurance to get paid $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 the next 3 or 4 days, with the ability you go out there and meet with clients. But you also, have the ability to go out there and change your financial future immediately, not by hunting for them, by consistently asking the questions is what I've seen and what I saw in that scenario, and what that did for me, I got paid, it wasn't bad, $6,000, $7,000 on that, and it was not, and what that did for my business was complete. Now, we didn't stop selling life insurance, that's the thing. So it wasn't like, well, did you stop selling? No, you didn't. You don't stop selling life insurance. You're always going to do that. You're always going to sell your 10, 15, 20 grand a week. You're always going to do that, right? But wouldn't it be nice once a month, once a week even? All right, you can get it there. But even once a quarter, once every 6 months, let's just be real, to have a nice chunk fall into your business. It's almost like your own AmeriCorps bonus. That's the kind of way, it's like you got your own 8% up in there, built in with annuities, but we just have to ask the questions. And the more you ask the questions, the more you'll get the statements, you'll get educated on it, and you'll be able to go out there and make this thing happen. So my biggest fear before I started asking the questions out there was, I don't know if I'm smart enough to do this. I don't really understand it. This is simple over here. I'll just stick to this. But I promise you guys, once you start opening yourself up to say, hey, I'm going to get challenged a little bit. All right. I'm going to learn this. I'm going to become the expert in this. And you're going to realize that it ain't that deep. It's a savings account with an insurance company. You can't lose any money. It's just, you know, now, you know, you're going to get deeper with it, but the basis of it is that. Okay. But if we're not asking the questions, we can't get that result. And the fusion it gives your business, the fusion, it's like you're buying your leads already with your life insurance sales. You're investing in your staff, your office, whatever that may be. Okay. You're paying your bills with your life insurance sales. This right here is just a crazy way to infuse capital into your business. If you're like, well, I want to be able to build an agency. I want to be able to hire staff. I want to be able to buy leads and help people out while they're out there in the field. This is a great way to do it. Because if you're taking care of you with your life insurance sales, imagine what you can do by asking a few more questions and be able to help out a bunch more people. And that's really what I see from this. Now, we're saving the clients tons of stress, tons of money, tons of the volatile market, okay? But your business can go like this, like the market too. Can you afford to not be selling annuities? Same questions we ask, can you afford to have that money in that place? And then a lot of them are going to say no. And if you look at your business a lot of times, and the majority of us, 100% of us, let's be honest, we can't afford not to be. Because this, especially when you're brand new figuring this thing out, everything, if you write 10 grand, all of it ain't going to stick. It is what it is. You're going to have to figure it out. You're going to be a better underwriter. You're going to be able to judge when people are just saying, yeah, or, you know, let's just see, or, you know, just trying to get you out, or they're really buyers. Okay. And these types of products annuities don't charge back. You know, like it just doesn't, you know, when you look at the percentages, it's just so far off. So this right here will help your business. Annuities will help you build it. Hopefully this time will help your business. But I know writing annuities will help your business. Thank you guys for having us on. Sean, thank you so much for the help. Ruggiero, Mike, all you guys, have a great day.